Welcome back to Takeout. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's visit to the White House, yet another example of Saudi Arabia aiming to strengthen its relationship with the United States. It has always been relatively strong, but they want it to be stronger. Former Ambassador at Large Nathan Sales joins us now. He is a distinguished fellow at the Atlantic Council. So, a lot was on the table. The Abraham Accords, normalizing relations with Israel, F-35 sales to the Saudi Arabia government. Assess where things are right now and where the Saudis would like to see them head under the Trump administration 2.0.
Well, I think both sides have asks of the other side. The Saudis want F-35s, they want a civilian nuclear program, and they want a defense guarantee that's similar to the one that the Trump administration offered to Qatar not so long ago. On the American side, we've got asks of our own. The big prize here is Saudi normalization with Israel. I think President Trump and his team see that as a legacy cementing step. Seems like the Saudis aren't quite ready to take that step yet.
Because they want some assurances about what's going to happen to the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank.
That's right. The Saudis have said our price is a path forward for an eventual Palestinian state. Now, what does that mean in practice? I think there's a lot of play in the joints there that diplomats are going to have to try and figure out. So stay tuned. I think there's going to be some more developments there before you see people signing on the dotted line. The Americans also are going to want to see signs that the Saudis are stepping away from their relationship with China. Last month, the People's Liberation Army Navy conducted joint exercises with the Saudi military. That's not a good sign. We do not want to see our chief geopolitical rival, the Communist Party of China, making inroads with a long-standing ally of the United States. So demands, requests, asks on both sides, that's why you do diplomacy. That's why you sit down face-to-face to talk through differences of opinion, but also areas of shared cooperation.
The United Nations Security Council approved the Peace Council headed by President Trump for Gaza and the West Bank. And yet, there are plenty of reports going on that the Israelis, the Americans, and lots of other interested parties are talking about the future of Gaza, but Palestinians aren't there. The Saudis can't be comfortable with that.
I think we're at a hinge point right now with a ceasefire in Gaza, but no firm plan yet for the way forward, because it depends on Hamas.
Right.
At this point, Hamas has to say yes to disarmament, to handing over power. And the Arab states, the Gulf Arab states who've said, yeah, we're going to contribute to a security force and we're going to contribute to rebuilding Gaza, they don't want to make an investment, a multi-billion-dollar investment that's going to get blown up when Hamas decides that they're going to renew a war against Israel. So right now, the ball's sort of in Hamas's court to follow through on the commitments they've made.
And the very assumption of everything you just put out by the president and his administration is that those Gulf Arab states will lean on Hamas and say, you don't have a future. You've got to get gone and get gone quick. Then we will invest. And that hasn't happened yet.
So it happened, but it needs to happen again. So it happened about a month ago when President...
It was all announced.
It was all announced. And the most important development in ending the conflict in Gaza was when all of those Arab and Muslim states said to Hamas, the jig is up. It's time to come back to the table. Hamas got the message then, but they've been dragging their feet since then. Maybe it's time for another intervention.
What would that look like? What would that sound like?
Well, initially, one would hope that it would be tough diplomacy. The Americans can say to Hamas, you got to come back to the table and negotiate the precise terms of your effectively a surrender. They're used to hearing that from us. If they hear it from the Saudis and the Qataris and the Turks and other people in the region, that might carry a bit more weight.
How does Jamal Khashoggi and the Saudi defensiveness about that, and clearly President Trump's defensiveness on behalf of the Saudi kingdom, factor at all into this, if at any level?
Well, it's still an issue. What happened to Jamal Khashoggi, his murder at the hands of Saudi agents, was horrible. And the Trump administration held people accountable for that. We imposed during the first term sanctions on 19 individuals that were assessed to be involved in that murder. And it's also the case that, like it or not, Saudi Arabia is a close partner of the United States. And we're going to have to find a way to work together, notwithstanding events in the past and mistakes in the past and crimes in the past. We know that if you try to turn Saudi Arabia into a pariah state, as a previous president said, that they're going to run right into the arms of China, turn them into a pariah state. And what happens? In October of 2025, they're doing drills with the Chinese military. It's not in the interest of the United States to alienate them. We need to apply pressure and moral suasion to them within the context of a durable strategic relationship.
Former Ambassador at Large, Nathan Sales, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.